here at Monza. The other two are Dutchman Jarno Opmeer, racing with the number 30 for MP Motorsport. The Dutch team making a return to the series after skipping last season. The third Renault Sport Academy driver is a Chinese driver as well. His name is Sun Yu Young, making the jump from kartings to auto racing. He had some trouble actually during race one yesterday. Finished, he had to retire. As you can see, the pit lane has been open in the single seaters. All the drivers are making their way outside to take position on the grid. Perfect weather conditions here at the Autodromo di Monza, where the sun is shining on the 30 competitors in the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup season opener. This circuit, which is 5 kilometers, 0.793 long, one of the great iconic racetracks around the world, of course, the Italian Grand Prix venue. So it's the perfect learning ground for these young talents. They try to do battle and work their way up the single seaters category, with the dream to make it all the way to Formula One. We've got exciting drivers making a return to the series after shining last season, including Sacha Fenestra. We already saw his car a few moments ago, but also Max de Fourny from Belgium. Will Palmer, who's racing for RHGP. Will Palmer, of course, the brother of Renault Sport Formula One team driver Jolyon, who finished last season the 2016 campaign with a win at Estoril, Portugal. It's been a long off-season for the Formula Renault Eurocup challengers. A long season, so perhaps that explains why yesterday we had a rather truncated race one with a couple of safety car periods. One of them actually triggered by the man we just had on the screen, Guilain Cordil, although he was an innocent victim of Rodrigo Flucker running wide at the first Lesmo, and the hapless Guilain Cordil could not do anything but tag the Peruvian ahead of him, triggering the first safety car period. We also had a second one when Sun bounced off the curve and almost landed on Alexis Kornev at the first chicane. And finally, it was one of the Red Bull Juniors, number 31, Neil Verhagen from the United States, who crashed into the barriers on the final lap, triggering the race-ending red flag. As you can see, the drivers are currently on their in-lap outside the pit lane. Around the Parabolica is Max de Fourny and his easy-to-distinguish blue livery, carrying number 9 this year, whereas he was with number 33 last season. Max de Fourny, who was slightly disappointed to finish only 5th. He has already one win in Eurocup under his belt, winning actually the 2016 season opener at Motoland Aragon. Max de Fourny was slightly disappointed to be only 5th in yesterday's race. So hopefully for him, the young Belgian ace will be looking to improve his situation. Max de Fourny, who actually went a bit faster this morning in qualifying, because he was second to Gabriel Aubry in Group B, hence 2 qualifying groups, and then to determine the grid, they alternate between odd and even numbers. The first cars have made their way onto the green, and some decide actually to go back to the pit lane to do another warm lap, perhaps to try to find their marks around the iconic Autodromo di Monza. The first round of the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup campaign, an expanded calendar this year in Formula Renault with 10 rounds and many Grand Prix venues, including the jewel in the crown, the support event to the Monaco Grand Prix at the final weekend in May. We also go to the streets of Pau, very narrow and iconic racetrack, and round 2 will be held at the home of British motorsport, Silverstone, again serving as curtain raiser to the Blancpain GT Series. That will be on May 13th and 14th. But for now, this is still the season opener here in Monza, and you can see the cars slotting into their grid slots on the grid. So starting from pole position is Gabriel Aubry, his very first pole position in the series for his sophomore campaign. Currently on your street is carrying the number 13, the fearless Portuguese driver Henrique Chaves for AVF Formula by Adrian Velez. So the Spanish team headed by former racing drivers Adrian Velez, Enrique Chavez, who's not afraid of carrying the number 13 because the number has been running through his family. He was telling us in pre-season, and he finished a strong 7th yesterday during race 1. More cars making their way onto the grid. 30 cars this weekend for the 2017 season opener. A huge entry list, mostly due to the technical stability of these cars. They have been used and well exploited for several years now. On your screen is young Aussie Lewis Leeds driving for Josef Kaufmann Racing, the reigning teams champion who ran Lando Norris to the 2016 title. Lando Norris, who was promoted to Euro F3, FIA European F3 this year, who was picked up by McLaren to join their young driver program. Several F1 affiliated drivers in the field, including 3 Red Bull drivers. Whereas we have now on your screen is number 5, Thomas Maxwell, another Australian, been 18-year-old. A lot of very young drivers in the field, because the oldest is only 22. So among these, some will shine and rise all the way, hopefully for them, to Formula 1. And now we have all the first rows of the grid. Pole position, the Frenchman carrying number 4 for Tech 1 Racing. Alongside him, Gabriel will have Will Palmer in the number 8 RHGP car, and Max Defourny will be 3rd. You can see here Gabriel will be very pumped up this morning when he set the fastest time in qualifying, securing his first ever pole position in Formula Renault Eurocup. A very friendly, bubbly teenager. He was very excited. Hopefully he can manage his emotions at the start, because we know on the run down to the first corner with the slipstream it can be tricky. Yesterday's race winner, Robert Schwartzman, only starts from 6th. He had a great start yesterday during race 1 and managed to keep the position on the first row of the grid, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. Will Palmer, we saw his dad, Jonathan, in the paddock earlier today. No doubt that he will be watching on keenly about his son's progress. Will Palmer, who was opted for stability team-wise, since he's still racing with RHGP, the team led by Cyril Comte and Thibaut de Mirandol. A lot of experience from this team, who used to run, for instance, Esteban Ocon, who is now a Force India Formula 1 driver. So plenty of experience from the French outfit. Will Palmer will have his teammate Max Defourny right behind him in 3rd. The Belgian finished 3rd in last year's standing. In 2017, a rather subdued start to his campaign, was only 5th yesterday in a truncated race. But still, Max had offered us a thrilling battle with Alex Peroni, the number 17 Australian driving for Fortec Motorsports. Another famous name in Formula Renault, Fortec Motorsports, the British team headed by Jamie Dye. As you can see here is Max Defourny and his blue livery car, RSGP number 9. Alongside him, and 4th is Thomas Maxwell. So Tech 1 Racing really showing some strong performance here at Monza. The temple, and you can see here Simon Abadi, the team manager of the team. Tech 1 Racing founded several years ago. Perfect weather condition. The sun is shining on the starting grid, which is slowly but surely getting cleared at the moment, and we will be underway very shortly. Formation lap, and then standing starts, of course, for single-seaters. Plus this weekend we also have Blancpain GT Series and Super Trofeo Lamborghini, GT cars, GT3 cars, obviously making rolling starts, but single-seaters we will be treated to a standing start, which is always one of the most thrilling parts of any race. Here's the view from the front of the grid. On the right of your screen, Gabriel Aubry from pole position. On the left, Will Palmer. Now on your right, Max Defourny. 30 cars, 30 drivers, 15 nationalities represented this year in Formula Renault Eurocup. We got drivers from Malaysia, Peru, Mexico, Switzerland, Russia, Australia, Belgium, China, France, the UK, of course. Max Futrell, we mentioned him earlier on, is also racing for Tech 1 Racing, carrying the number 7, the reigning British F4 champion. He finished as the top rookie yesterday, finishing in 8th, ahead of Yifeye. As we move up the order, you can see number 29, one of the Red Bull junior drivers. His name is Richard Verschoor, another Dutchman that Red Bull managed to pick up, and he won Spanish F4 last year, as well as the NEZ F4 Championship, NEZ standing for North European Zone. You can see the grid is quite long because we've got 30 cars. Final pieces of advice from the mechanics to their drivers, then shaking hands and wishing all the best for this race too. 25 minutes plus one lap. Hopefully we will get more running. As I mentioned earlier, we had 2 safety car periods yesterday, and the race ended up with a red flag. Here are the final rows of the grid, 15 rows, 30 cars. And then we will have the formation lap for race 2 in the 2017 season opener. Monza hosting the 2017. Underway very shortly for the formation lap with Gabriel Aubry. There he goes, leading away from pole position. Will Palmer, Max Defourny, Thomas Maxwell, Sasha Fenestra, and Robert Schwartzman only on the 3rd row of the grid. Robert Schwartzman and Sasha Fenestra had a tremendous battle for lead after the 2nd restart yesterday. Robert told us that after the race that he was Sasha was actually ahead of him during the first chicane, but he managed to hold his ground. Series. Here is a quick look at the starting grid again. So Gabriel Aubry starts from pole ahead of Will Palmer. For RHGP on the 2nd row of the grid, we'll have Max Defourny ahead of Thomas Maxwell. 3rd is occupied by Sasha Fenestra ahead of Robert Schwartzman, yesterday's race winner. 7th is Vartanian ahead of Yifeye, so 2 rookies. Then it's Jarno Opmeer ahead of Dan Ticktum, one of the 3 Red Bull juniors. Neil Verhagen, another Red Bull junior, ahead of Raul Guzman from Mexico. Then it's Richard Verschoor and Alex Pironi, only 14th, whereas he was 5th yesterday. Max Futrell, 15th, ahead of Louis Leeds in 16th. Grégoire Saucy, the Swiss, in 17th, ahead of Enrique Chavez from the 13th. Presley Martono from Indonesia is 19th. Zane Goddard from Australia is 20th. Then we have Matus in 21st. 22nd is Thomas Neubauer to Tech 1 Racing. Rodrigo Flöcker, who triggered the first safety car period, 23rd, ahead of Cole Neef, 24th. Frank Bird is 25th, ahead of Guilain Cordial, was involved in that crash with Rodrigo Flöcker yesterday. Sun is 27th, so ahead of Jean-Baptiste Simonao, 28th. The only girl in the field, Julia Pankiewicz, is 29th, ahead of Razak, the Malaysian driver, starting from P30. Here they are through the Variante Ascari, the very fast chicane that links to the straight before the Parabolica. Drivers trying to bring their Michelin tires up into temperature to ensure a smooth launch at the start. The field now rounding up the formation lap, and then we will be underway for 25 minutes plus 1 lap in this season opening weekend of the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup. You can see perfect weather conditions. It's the sun is shining brightly on Monza, the temple of speed, with almost 23 degrees Celsius in the air. And the cars are now rounding up the world-famous Parabolica. They will then take their position. They will line up on the grid for the start. As you can see, a yellow flag waved to let the drivers know they're approaching the grid and they have to line up in the correct spot. Gabriel Aubry is about to reach his position right before our eyes. He was starting from P2 yesterday, qualifying group, but the other group actually went faster with Robert Schwarzman. This time around, the Frenchman from Tech 1 Racing is starting from pole, very first time of his Formula Renault career. Can he hold off a charging Will Palmer or Max Defourny at the start? That's another story, and we will know this in just a few moments as the rest of the grid lines up on their respective slots. Looks like they're all ready to go. No drama so far. She had an electronics issue actually on her way to the grid, but that was yesterday's story. We'll see what happens today, with the starts only a few moments away. Gabriel Aubry from pole position, and away they go. And looks like Will Palmer has a good start. Can he manage to overtake Gabriel Aubry on the run down to the first corner? Looks like Will Palmer is already alongside Gabriel Aubry. Can the Frenchman hold his ground? Will Palmer is on the inside. Surely he will lead into the first corner. Watch out for the Fournier and Maxwell right behind, and Palmer is leading. Can Aubry resist? No. Will Palmer leading the race from P2 on the grid. The brother of Jolyon Racing for RHGP, his second year in Eurocup. Will Palmer leading from Aubry. Looks like Maxwell has also managed to jump the Fournier at the start, as we have some battle between an Arden and AVF driver. Max Defournier already responding to Maxwell attack and reclaiming P3, the charging Belgian ace. But that was a great launch from Will Palmer from second on the grid, stealing the top spot from Gabriel Aubry right at the start. And we already have a retiree, I'm afraid. It's Presley Martono, number 26 for Mark Bidet Motorsport. But back to the front, where Will Palmer is leading the race ahead of Paul Sitter, Gabriel Aubry, Max Defourny tucked into the Frenchman's rear wing as they power along and towards Variante Ascari. We've got some drivers trying to overtake ahead of this very fast chicane. Thomas Maxwell looking very feisty indeed, as we have an intra-Red Bull battle in the background between Verhagen and Ticktum. So Palmer has a bit of a breathing space ahead of Aubry, which will make the start finish more manageable. We have some headache in the pack with I think it's Enrique Chavez on the inside at Parabolica. Very bold move here from the Portuguese driver, where some drivers are a bit wide in the Parabolica, but now you have some asphalt. And here is Will Palmer finishing the first time. We have Sacha Fenestra tucked into Thomas Maxwell's rear wing. Sacha Fenestra, the Franco-Argentine, making a move for what is P5 was. Defourny tries a move as well on Aubry. Sacha Fenestra locking up the tires, but he makes the move stick, and ahead of him is Robert Schwarzman, who was starting 6th on the grid. He's already up to 4th, yesterday's race winner. One of the three Russian drivers backed by SMP was Fenestra and Maxwell are battling out in the background. Tremendous battle between these two. Of course, and the touch, there's contact. Fenestra can continue. Can Maxwell do the same? Looks like there was no damage to both cars, but that was a bit too close between Fenestra and Thomas Maxwell. Maxwell, who is racing for Tech 1 Racing, Sacha Fenestra, who used to race for Tech 1 Racing. But we have another collision between Alex Peroni and Enrique Chavez. Alex Peroni, number 17 for Fortec Motorsport, and Enrique Chavez, unlucky number 17 for AVF. Yellow flags our way, and safety car. The safety car is called. So we have another interruption in the Formula Renault Eurocup season opener. The safety car has been called out following this collision between Alex Peroni, the Australian driving for Fortec Motorsports, and the Portuguese driver from AVF, Enrique Chavez. Yeah, they're in a very dangerous position, unsighted from the other cars coming in, and looks like there was further drama with the number 34 car of Guilain Cordier, who already was involved in a collision yesterday. A weekend to forget for the young Belgian driving for Arden. Arden, a very famous team, of course, who's had plenty of success across several categories, but who's making its Formula Renault Eurocup debut this season. You can see the drivers now forming only one line behind the safety cars. We can see a replay from the back at the start. Another replay with Will Palmer already on the move right from the start, drawing alongside Gabriel Aubry to cover the inside line and grab the lead from the Frenchman. Behind, watch Thomas Maxwell doing likewise with Max Dufourny a few corners later. There you can see on the outside. But Dufourny will reclaim the position a few meters later. And look at Robert Schwartzman from 6th, really launching like a rocket and past Sacha Fenestra in the few meters of the race. So the race, which has been interrupted with a safety car period, just like yesterday. We had 2 safety car periods. Hopefully we only have one this afternoon in Monza for race 2 of the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup campaign. As the field is trying to keep their Michelin tires into temperature. Here's a few figures for you. 32 gear changes per lap around Monza. Although we don't have many turns, only 11 at the Temple of Speed. Top speed for this Formula Renault car is almost 250 kilometers per hour. Nearly 80% of the time is spent on full throttle, and the highest G-force is 252. Interestingly, and Gabriel Aubry will not like this piece of statistics, only a third of winners came from pole position across recent years. And we saw what happened at the start with Will Palmer overtaking the Frenchman. Robert Schwartzman managed it really well yesterday. Will Palmer so racing for Irish GP. Thibaut de Merandel, who told us this morning that in Monza, due to the very long straight and the slipstream, every restart is very tricky. So I'm sure he will have provided Will with some very valuable advice. Will, of course, who has his father, Jonathan Palmer, a former Formula 1 driver, here this weekend. So he would have had great info and great advice as well from his father. Another lap completed under the safety car. Last year, the Formula Renault Eurocup already visited Monza, and we had 3 races. One of them was won by Lando Norris, who ended up winning the 2016 title. Dorian Boccolacci, the Frenchman from Tech 1 Racing, won race 2, and the third race was claimed by Briton Harrison Scott for AVF by Adrian Velez. The race was run in the summer, whereas this year Monza is the 2017 season opener. On your screen now is Sacha Fenestra, who banged wheels with Thomas Maxwell right before the safety car period. I wonder whether the stewards will have a look into that. And here is the flatbed recovery truck for the collision between Enrique Chavez and Alex Peroni. We also saw Guilain Cordier having to retire, so I wonder if Cordier was involved in this incident or had his own misfortune. And Palmer, Gabriel Aubry, and Max Dufourny has managed to reclaim third after losing it at the first corner to Thomas Maxwell. Thomas Maxwell, who has slipped down all the way to 7th, was the first of the rookies. Is currently number 23, Alexander Vartanian. Another Russian backed by SMP is currently running in 6th for JD Motorsports. Top 5 is filled with second or third year drivers. And then you can see on the screen the blue blue numbers indicate rookies. So top 5 is Palmer, Aubry, Defourny, Schwartzman, Fenestra. All of them, save for Aubry, are already race winner, and I'm sure Gabriel will be very keen to add his name to this list. He had very high hopes after securing pole position, but Will Palmer, who had been fastest in the first qualifying group, has other intentions. Two of the 3 Red Bull Junior. Number 31 is Neil Verhagen from the US, who won the F1600 series in America last year before being picked up by the energy drinks giant. Number 29 is Richard Verschoor from the Netherlands, double F4 champion last year. And the third one is Briton Daniel Tichtum, racing for Harden Motorsports. Daniel making a return to racing this season with the support of Red Bull. So 3 Red Bull Juniors. We also have 3 members of the Renault Academy, which is headed by Mia Charisman, who is on site and watching the progress of these young talents, because at the end of the season 2 of them will be added to the academy, the 2017 champion, but also another driver who will have shown and starred during the season. 10 rounds, 20 races. Some rounds have 3 races. This is not the case of this season opener in Monza. Another novelty is we have 2 races at Monaco, whereas last year we only had 1, with Sacha Fenestra winning a red flag race under the rain. Actually, Fenestra has 2 wins under his belt in Formula Renault Eurocup, both of which were secured in wet weather conditions. The second one was at Estoril for the very last race of the season in Portugal. Palmer and Fenestra winning at the final round of the 2016 Formula Renault Eurocup campaign, and was still behind the safety car, whereas the incident between Peroni and Chavez will be investigated after the race, whereas the incident involving car number 34, that's Guinan Cordil for Arden Motorsport, no further action. Looks like we have another retirement, one of the 3 Red Bull Juniors. So is it Tichtum, Verhagen or Verschoor? Can't really make out the number from behind. Is it a technical issue for this car? But looks like we've lost another car after losing Cordil, Peroni and Chavez. One of the 3 Red Bull Juniors will join the list of retirement, and it's looks like it's Daniel Tichtum on the Italian screen, number 33. Previously we had actually lost Priestley Martono from Indonesia, car number 26. That means 5 cars have already retired in this race, whereas the safety car will dive into the pit lane at the end of this lap, and we'll back to racing. Will Palmer will be very keen to get a bit of breathing space ahead of Gabriel Aubry. The Frenchman, no doubt, will be right on the gearbox of the Briton ahead of him. Everybody will try to take the slipstream of the car in front, whereas the car in front will try to break the toe naturally. Rod Schwarzman really nailed the restart. First restart yesterday was a bit tricky. Way through Parabolica. And looks like he's put some gap between his car and Gabriel Aubry. Meanwhile, look at Sacha Fenestra right on the tail of Robert Schwarzman. These two already are their own battle. Yesterday, Fenestra is drawing alongside Robert Schwarzman. He has the inside line. Can he keep the momentum and take 4th position away from the Russian? Looks like, and Defourny trying a very late move on Gabriel Aubry. And Schwarzman very sneakily picks up 4th position ahead of Defourny, who's losing another position to Sacha Fenestra as they rush towards the second chicane. Schwarzman, who was losing to Fenestra, but ended up overtaking Defourny. Brilliant piece of driving from the young Russian who won race 1 yesterday. Look at Defourny trying to reclaim the position to Fenestra. locking up the tyre through the second chicane, and De Fourny through Fenestra. But he has the Franco-Argentine right on his tail as they go around the first Lesmo corner, very high-speed corner. Thomas Maxwell in the background, trying to make up for lost ground earlier with a contact with Fenestra. Palmer looks like has managed to keep the lead over Aubry, 4/10 for the Briton, and Fenestra already drawing alongside De Fourny on the run down to Variante Ascari. Can he grab the position? Yes, he can on the outside. This is the battle for fifth, as Will Palmer has his mirror full of Gabriel Aubry, the Frenchman, who set the fastest lap in qualifying this morning, starting from position lost out at the start, was De Fourny is very close on Sacha Fenestra's tail. Battles everywhere in the pack, up and down the field. Of course, Monza the straights are so long you can take the slipstream of the car in front. Look at De Fourny, really right behind Fenestra. Can he pull a move on the outside and the inside? He goes for the inside line. The second part of the first chicane, obviously, Sacha will have the inside line. Can he hold his ground? Looks like he can. No drama between the two drivers. Both of them are returning for a second season. A look at De Fourny trying on the outside. He will have the inside line. If he managed to keep this position, he will have the inside line on the second chicane. Tremendous battle between two returnees who have title aspirations definitely in 2017. De Fourny holding, whereas the car has locked up ahead of them, and De Fourny takes back the position. So De Fourny is back up to fourth. Schwartzman ahead of him has put some gap in between him and De Fourny. Fenestra trying to respond as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to see the top three running away in the distance. The Franco-Argentine who switched from Tech 1 Racing to the reigning team's champion Josef Kaufmann Racing. Sacha Fenestra, who's joined the same management structure as Lando Norris, last year's champion as well. The two are very friendly and friends to each other. And back to the lead with Will Palmer through the Variante Ascari with Gabriel Aubry right on his tail. Robert Schwarzman gaining on the leading duo. Robert Schwarzman, who won yesterday race 1 from pole position. Well, looks like we have another spinner, car number 93, whereas Louis Leeds is through the grass and has lost part of his car. These were two Australian drivers. Louis Reed, number 2 for Josef Kaufmann Racing. Number 93 was Zane Goddard for Arden Motorsport. It's all happening at the same time right now, as the leaders are right under our eyes in the commentary booth. Still Will Palmer leading for Gabriel Aubry. Robert Schwarzman is a bit on his own in third. Max De Fourny under tremendous pressure from Sacha Fenestra. Tremendous battle between these two. Sacha Fenestra, who had contact with Thomas Maxwell earlier in the race, whereas we have a replay of the clash of the Aussies between Louis Leeds and Zane Goddard. Louis Leeds turning on Zane Goddard, was trying to move ahead of the Variante Ascari. And we're back to the live action with Fenestra, always still trying to find a way past Max De Fourny. Here's the running order: Palmer ahead of Aubry, Schwartzman in third, De Fourny fourth, Fenestra fifth, and then it's all the rookies in the second part of the top 10 is Thomas Maxwell, Neil Verhagen, Guy Fayet, reigning French F4 champion Richard Verschoor, and in 10th is Max Futrell, one of the 3 Renault Sport Academy members involved in this Monza weekend. Whereas the incident between Louis Leeds and Zane Goddard will be investigated after the race. It's the same decision from the stewards as for the Peroni Chavez incident. We're now running with Alexander Vartanian through the Variante Ascari chicane. Will Palmer still holding firm in the lead, ahead of Gabriel Aubry. Schwartzman gaining, looming ever closer to Gabriel Aubry. And then we have the battling duo, Max De Fourny, Sacha Fenestra. It looks like Fenestra is really close to De Fourny at the start of the main straight. Will he go on the outside line or on the inside? He goes for the inside line. Can he hold the position and still force to Max De Fourny? We will have the answer in just a few moments, side by side as they approach the first chicane, and looks like Sasha is through. He manages to make a move stick to grab P4 from the Irish GP driver. Can Max Dufourny reply at the very next corner? Was Robert Schwarzman is now very threatening indeed for Gabriel Aubry's second position. Schwarzman pulling off a dummy, or trying to pull off a dummy at the second chicane on Gabriel Aubry. Better throttle on the exit of the chicane, but looks like Aubry has managed to keep his position for the moment. Schwarzman trying on the outside, that's very brave. It could end up in tears. But the two drivers managed to keep it clean, very professional. Schwarzman, who told us after the race that he was very pleased with his defending on Fenestra. Well, he will have to do the same in just a few moments, because Fenestra is charging hard behind him as they approach the Valiente Ascari chicane. Palmer, this has given a bit of a breathing space to race leader Will Palmer. We're now on Robert Schwarzman, yesterday's winner. Only 5 minutes left in this second race of the weekend. Look at the top 5, pretty much on their own. All are second-year drivers. They have more experience, of course, more speed. Fenestra really reeling in Schwarzman and Aubry ahead of him. Fenestra, who pretty much led the race for a couple of meters yesterday before Schwarzman managed to hold his position and the race was red flag. You can see that we have battle all the way down the field. Now he's one of the 3 Russians backed by SMP. Could be Alexei Kornev involved in a battle with Grégoire Saucy. And Yifeye having to defend from one of the Red Bull juniors. It's actually Alexander Vartanian right on Raul Guzman's tail. This is the battle for P11, whereas we are still on them. So yeah, Raul Guzman from Mexico is making his debut in Formula Renault Eurocup. Look at trying to cover the inside line. Alexander Vartanian looking for a way past. Not sure Raul is supposed to weave like this in order to defend his position. Meanwhile, back to the front where Gabriel Aubry is under increasing pressure from Robert Schwarzman, who is hurried along by Sasha Fenestra. Max Dufourny is now slightly in the distance in 5th, even though should there be any trouble ahead of him, he could be here to reap the rewards. Raul Guzman and Alexander Vartanian on your screen. But back to the front where it's Fenestra having to catch a slide through Valiente Ascari. Palmer leading from Gabriel Aubry, but it's really between Aubry, Schwarzman and Fenestra that the next piece of action will surely come. Fenestra really close to Robert Schwarzman. These two already did battle in race 1 yesterday. Can they grace us with another thrilling scrap? Palmer leading as he crosses the line for another lap. He's 11th. And now it's Schwarzman. Very close to Aubry. Can he try to move on the outside? And Robert Schwarzman try. Can he lose control? And they touch. They touch. Contact between Robert Schwarzman and Gabriel Aubry. Looks like both of them will have to retire because Schwarzman has an ailing Formula Renault car. Surely it won't go any further. And it's all to the benefit of Sasha Fenestra, who moves up to P2. Let's see if Gabriel Aubry has managed to. The marshals are hurrying along another car, and I suspect this is Gabriel Aubry's ailing Tech 1 racing car. Look at Schwarzman, very late, and then locking at the tires, losing, and then hurting at the left rear. Suspension bent, apparently. The race 1 winner is out of race 2. Gabriel Aubry, same, starting from pole position. He will be devastated. He was so happy, so pumped up after setting the fastest qualifying lap. And we're back to the leader, Will Palmer, who must have seen some of the drama in his mirrors. He now has a charging Sasha Fenestra on his tail. Some space between the two leading cars. And Max Dufourny in the background in 3rd. trying to reel in his teammate, Will Palmer. And just like all the other incidents, the incident between Robert Schwartzman and Gabriel Aubry will be investigating after the race. We'll see if there is any penalty given to the young Russian. Less than 1 minute left in race 2 of the season opening weekend here at Monza for the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup. You can see drivers trying to take the slipstream of the cars in front, and the cars in front trying to break the toe. Here's a dive on the inside, no, just the Thomas Maxwell holding his ground ahead of Neil Verhagen. Guy Fayet is behind him with the number 1, and Richard Verschoor is behind his lot in 7th. So Maxwell is 4th ahead of Verhagen in 5th, Yifei is 6th, and Verschoor in 7th. And we're back to the fight for P2 between Sacha Fenestra and Max Dufourny. Max Dufourny has come closer to Fenestra ahead of him. Fenestra, who had a contact with Thomas Maxwell earlier in the race. Perhaps his car is not in the perfect state at the moment in this closing stage. The time has ticked down to 0, which means we will have an extra lap, which will be the final lap of the race. Will Palmer, who is leading by 2 seconds and 3/10 ahead of Fenestra, only 7/10 ahead of Dufourny. Then is Thomas Maxwell, the first rookie, in 4th ahead of Neil Verhagen, number 31. Guy Fayet is 6th, and Richard Verschoor is 7th. But we have on your screen the battle for P4 between Thomas Maxwell, Guy Fayet right on the tail of the US racer, looking for any opportunity to improve his classification. And we have entered the final lap of the race with Max Dufourny very close to Sacha Fenestra. Will he try something during this final lap in order to move up from P3 to P2? And it's Maxwell, Verhagen ahead of Guy Fayet and Richard Verschoor. All 4 are rookies. Max Futrell, number 7, is right behind them in 8th. Well, Dufourny is now very close to Sacha Fenestra. Surely he will try to move at the second chicane, drawing alongside the Franco-Argentine. Can he move ahead of him? Fenestra covering the inside line. But on the exit of the chicane, can Max Dufourny find a way past? So far, Sacha Fenestra holding his ground through the first Lesmo corner. And now rushing to the second part of this iconic piece of the Monza racetrack. Dufourny knows that he won't have many more opportunities if he wants to go up from P3 to P2. Meanwhile, Will Palmer looks pretty safe out there with over 2.6 seconds of a gap ahead of Fenestra and Dufourny through the Variante Ascari, swerving through this very fast chicane. Will Palmer leading from Fenestra and Dufourny. In the background, all the rookies are battling for the points paying position. Dufourny trying a move on the inside of Parabolica on Sacha Fenestra, but looks like the Franco-Argentine has managed to hold his own. Meanwhile, Will Palmer claims victory in race 2 in Monza, the season opening weekend of the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup campaign. Sacha Fenestra manages to hold his ground ahead of Max Dufourny to complete the podium position, and looks like at the very last moment Neil Verhagen has overtaken Thomas Maxwell for P4. Guy Fayet comes 6th ahead of Richard Verschoor in 7th. Max Futrell is 8th. Alexander Vartanyan has finally found a way past Raul Guzman for P9, and Raul Guzman rounds up the points paying position for RHGP with P10. Tremendous stuff from Will Palmer, who really built his victory at the start. He was lining up 2nd behind pole sitter Gabriel Aubry. He managed to jump the Frenchman at the very first corner and then never looked back. Meanwhile, Gabriel Aubry had to defend from a charging Robert Schwartzman from P6 on the grid. Schwartzman and Aubry, who both retired after making contact at the first chicane. Here's Will Palmer in the celebration lap. He will be delighted to secure his second Formula Renault Eurocup win after winning the season finale in Estoril last year. Marshals applauding the field. Naturally, we have to thank them and congratulate all the racetrack marshal, without whom motor racing will not be possible. See now the field completing the lap between Enrique Chavez and Alex Peroni. Several contacts actually. Here's the classification. Will Palmer wins race 2 in Monza ahead of Sacha Fenestra, Max de Fourny third, Verhagen fourth ahead of Maxwell at the Verlas-Mon. Ye finishes 6th, Verschu is 7th, Futrell is 8th ahead of Vartanian, and Raoul Guzman rounds up the points paying position ahead of Thomas Neubauer and Grégoire Saucy. Will Palmer scoring the 25 points awarded to the winner. Here is the following part of the classification with a good result for Julia Pankiewicz, starting from 29th. She worked her way all the way up to 15. And we had several retirements: Rodrigo Flecker, Alex Peroni, Enrique Chavez, Guilain Cordil, Daniel Tictum, Gabriel Aubry, and Robert Schwarzman. And here they are in Parc Fermé with a delighted Will Palmer exiting, clambering out of his car. He will receive the congratulations from RSGP, Cyril Comte here, congratulating Thibaut de Merindol, and of course his father, Jonathan Palmer, delighted to celebrate another win for his younger son Will in the Formula Renault Eurocup, one of the best feeder series in the world, with previous champions, including drivers like Valtteri Bottas, Stoffel Van Doorn, and earlier drivers like Alain Prost. So the series has been around since 1971. Plenty of talents have gone through the ranks of Formula Renault. Sacha Fenestra again finishing P2. We'll have to double check the championship classification, but he should be leading the championship after Monza, although he would be perhaps slightly disappointed not to have won any race. Here's Will Palmer, today's winner in Formula Renault Eurocup. He will be with us very shortly for a quick post-race interview. Max de Fourny will be pleased with his return to the podium after being slightly disappointed with P5, although he was running only 5th before Aubry and Schwartzman collided. Here is, and we are with the winner, Will Palmer, with Dakota Jane in the Parc Fermé.
Will, that was some brilliant racing. Well done.
Thanks very much. It was a really good race. I managed to get a good start from P2 on the grid. Managed to get Gabriel into the first corner, and then was starting to open up a gap, and then the first safety car came out. And I thought the safety car restart would be tough, because it's always tough at Monza with the long start finish straight. But I managed to get a really good restart, and then from there it was just managing the pace and pulling away.
A massive congratulations, well deserved. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Will Palmer, race 2 winner for the season opening weekend of the Formula Renault Eurocup campaign. Here is a look at the highlights from the race, with a great start from Will Palmer, P2 on the grid, but he was already leading by the first corner, stealing the top spot from Gabriel Aubry. A good start as well from Robert Schwarzman from P6. Here is the battle with Sacha Fenestra working his way up the field. We'll see that the Franco-Argentine will end up banging wheels with Thomas Maxwell. There you go. Two drivers very lucky not to retire on the spot. Finestra will manage to recover all the way to P2. One of the first incidents in the race involving Alex Peroni and Enrique Chavezin bringing the safety car out. Then the restart always tricky here at Monza due to the long straight. And Max de Fourny losing out to Robert Schwartzman at the first chicane. And then to Sacha Finestra. We also had a collision between two Australian drivers, Zane Goddard and Louis Lude. And finally, Robert Schwartzman trying to grab P2 from Gabriel Aubry, ended up collecting the Frenchman. Both will retire. Was Max de Fourny here, tried all his might to grab P2 from Sacha Finestra, but today belonged to Will Palmer, the Briton carrying number 8 for RHGP. And he will be on the podium very shortly to receive the winner's trophy. Along with the other two drivers on the podium, Sacha Finestra and Max de Fourny. We also have the best rookie on the podium. They will be encouraged up the stairs to collect their trophy. They'll be there shortly, making their way from Parc Fermé to the podium ceremony. Second win for Will Palmer in the Formula Renault Eurocup after Estoril last year. Sacha Finestra still looking for his first win this year, although he finished twice on the podium, which gives him an early lead in the championship. I'm sure he will be delighted with that. Max de Fourny finishing 5th and 3rd also secures a good haul of points to kickstart his 2017 campaign, and looks like the drivers are ready for the podium ceremony. First called on the iconic Monza podium overlooking the start-finish line is Max de Fourny for RHGP, the Belgian ace returning for a season with title aspirations. Second is the ever-smiling Sacha Finestra, the Franco-Argentine from Josef Kaufmann Racing. And on the top step of the podium, Will Palmer, the Briton. So we will have British national anthem in just a few moments, naturally. Here's your top three: Will Palmer, Sacha Finestra, and Max de Fourny. All of them were already battling at the front. Last year was the first rookies, Neil Verhagen, number 31. God Save the Queen rings out at the Autodromo di Monza to celebrate Will Palmer's victory in race 2 of the season opening weekend in the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup campaign. And then we will have the trophy handed out. It's Max de Fourny picking up the silverware for 3rd place. Then it's Sacha Finestra taking his trophy, 2nd trophy of the weekend. He would have liked to have a winner's trophy, but these 2 2nd places are very valuable points indeed. The season will be long, 10 rounds, already one in the book. And awarding the top prize is Mia Charizman, the head of the Renault Sport Academy, who is watching everybody's progress very keenly indeed. have also a trophy for the best rookie, of course rewarding first RSGP, the French outfit, celebrating another win in the Formula Renault Eurocup. They actually already won race 1 since Robert Schwartzman is racing for them. Top rookie is Neil Verhagen from the United States, who managed to pip Thomas Maxwell at the flag. And here's the main picture. There's all the drivers on the podium. Paul Palmer, all smiles with this victory. And the bubbles are out, sprayed on the podium to celebrate the end of race 2 in Monza. It's already one of the 10 rounds in the books for the 2017 Formula Renault Eurocup campaign. This is shaping up to be another great season in the Renault series, the popular Renault series. And you can be sure that these 4 drivers are likely to feature amongst the front runners as we travel now to Silverstone for round 2. Silverstone taking place on May 13th and 14th. Second round of the season, then they will go to Pau for round 3 for the iconic Grand Prix de Pau, and then it will be Monaco curtain raiser to the famous, world famous Monaco Grand Prix. The podium ceremony is now over here in Monza. Thanks for tuning in this weekend for the season opener of the 2017 Formula Renault campaign. We will be back in Silverstone to bring you all the action. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back in May at Silverstone. Bye-bye.